Okay. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to allow me to interview you
You're welcome.
for this participating video.
Okay.
And could you please tell me your name
I'm Joan Massett,
and your title?
special education school nurse.
Okay, thank you. And I'm doing this participating video because I'm doing my principal certification, and I'm trying to learn about how technology helps all the teachers and employees here at our school. And I wanted to know, what type of technology does your department use on a routine basis as a nurse?
Okay. We have several different types of technology. We have technology related to the actual medical care for the children that I take care of. Things like infusion pumps that allow a fluid to drip at a certain rate over a certain period of time. We have technology related to communication, which would be the usual things like my cell phone is invaluable. So I use a lot of not only phone calls but texting to communicate with parents. We have our computers, of course, which allow us to do all kinds of things. A lot of our documentation of the actual nursing care, as well as the needs. I work with the special needs children, so we do a lot of our meetings on the computers, and that's invaluable for making everything more consistent. In the past, when when it was handwritten or when it was not on a computer program, it wasn't always the same thing that was discussed each time, and how it was written down wasn't always adequate.
So is there a template you follow on the
Yeah.
computer? Okay.
There's an actual program that we have to use for our documentations, and that program, has areas that you have to fill in, or it tells you, you haven't filled it in. You got to put an answer here.
Okay.
Yep.
And to what degree are you knowledgeable of and proficient with the technology in your department?
I've had to become proficient with everything. Things like infusion pumps. Over the years that I've been working with the students, I've come into contact with various infusion pumps, and sometimes I've had to, learn them on my own. Sometimes there've been people that can help me with it, but I've had to figure out how to use it. Sometimes, you end up calling the company and asking them something about, how it works, or if you can't figure something out or it doesn't seem to be working appropriately. So I've had to become proficient.
And what do you feel that you need to succeed in your position in regards to technology?
Well, obviously the equipment for the technology is important. You have to have the appropriate equipment. It has to work correctly. It has to be, quick enough that you can utilize it in a situation, that you need it for. Because if it takes too long, or if it's not working properly, then it's even more of a burden than it is a help. So there's always something that you need to have fixed or checked or whatever, and you need to have the knowledge to deal with it, as well as the actual equipment.
And how do you feel you would get the knowledge?
The knowledge sometimes comes from being in classes. We have a lot of trainings, and actually the nurses that are in my position as special ed nurses, we actually train other nurses on the technology that we become familiar with. So there's trainings, we conduct trainings, but we also, occasionally go to the company. We have to call the company. We have to look on the internet to
Are there
look up
trainings here
something.
provided by the school district?
Yes, yep. And that's what I was talking about with the trainings. We provide some of the trainings that are done through the school
The
district.
district. Through the special ed department?
No, it's actually for the health
Or
and
nurse?
medical.
Oh, health and medical.
Yeah, so any of the nurses who are school nurses, but not in a position where they're, say, doing tube feedings often, they can come to a training. We teach them how to use the tube feedings, the equipment for that, and as well as the infusion pumps.
Infusion. And are the department objectives effectively and efficiently met through the use of technology?
Yes. A lot of what we do, we have to document. We keep track of numbers. We keep track of categories of, students. Like, say there's, well, we have to do like a condition report. We have to put down all the various medical conditions that we encounter in our students, and how many of those students, are in those categories. We do that through reporting mechanisms that come through the computer. So the technology really helps us to, keep track of that and, keep our records updated. We have a medical reporting program that is on the computer that's available to teachers as well as nurses. And that allows us to update the information that we have. Like, you can go in and see when a student's been gone into the nurse's clinic to get checked for something. You can check the date on that and open it up and see what information is available about the student. Why they were there, how long they were in the clinic, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Is that a new?
I think we've had that for, let's say, about 5 years now.
5 years now?
Yeah, that's a chancery system.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does technology facilitate effective learning and other student or personnel services?
In my mind, it is totally invaluable. I mean, if you have somebody that is not feeling well or has a condition that takes their attention away from what they're being taught, then they're not going to learn. And I really feel like, especially, coming from a school nurse's position, I feel like what we provide to the students is the ability to get in a classroom and actually be present in the classroom so that they can learn. If there's somebody that is having difficulty with it, like we've had kids that have seizure disorder, and it's really hard to pick up on some of those conditions. And it may look like the kid is just kind of, daydreaming or dozing off a little bit or whatever, and he's actually having a seizure, and he can't take in anything during that time. His brain is completely taken up with all the electrical impulse, and that if we can get that under control, then the student can learn.
Are teachers trained about how to detect seizures in the classroom, since you're talking about seizures and some of them are very hard to detect?
Well, and that's something that we try to do. We try to provide the information to the teacher. Like, if a student is on a medication, I try to give an information sheet to the teacher so that they can understand, what is the medication used for, what are the potential side effects that could occur from that. If there's any other information regarding that medication that they need to understand, for the student's ability to be able to, be in the classroom and be present. Seizures, same thing. We try to provide information. I've got like a DVD that shows different types of seizures, and we try to get the principal's permission to give an in-service, for the teachers. We've done several of them since I've been here at this school. Yeah.
Thank you, especially since people who don't see seizures on a daily basis, it may be something very new to them.
And what we found out is that there's teachers that are seeing seizures on a daily basis, but have no idea that they're seeing a seizure.
They don't even know it's a seizure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They didn't understand that
like,
that was a possibility.
Yes, he does that. I didn't know that's what he was having.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And do parents give you a heads up on that, or do you learn?
Hopefully, we have a sheet that goes out to the students who are coming into the school for the first time, that gives a health history, and hopefully the parents will give us some information, that will be helpful, that we know what to keep an eye on them for. It doesn't always occur that way. You know, some parents are reluctant to write things down.
Is that only for the new students or
New
what?
students?
Only
Uh-huh.
new students.
Yeah.
Okay.
But once we identify something, we try to keep that in mind with that student. We try to keep up with the parent, especially, you know, working with special ed students. I have the opportunity to meet with them at least once a year at the ARD meeting and say, you know, how is it going? You know, what medication is he on? You know, what do you see? And, you know, kind of get an update on those situations.
And what are the strengths in your department's technology system?
The strengths would be that there is a focus on technology, that technology is considered important, and that they do provide technology for us, that we have the computers, we have the equipment. We can generally get the things that we need to have to help the student be successful in the educational setting.
Okay. And do you see any weaknesses within your department's technology system?
Well, the weaknesses are that we're very focused on medical issues as opposed to technology.
Yeah.
We don't always have the technological brains. You know, we don't have the, we don't understand how things are connected or how they work or whatever. And, you know, we require training, we require backup. Sometimes our equipment isn't working well and we don't know, you know, how to, like, say, defrag a computer. I mean, that's one of the things I've had to learn how to do so that, you know, the computer would work better. But we're not necessarily wired for that. You know, we're wired to look at the medical things and, like, take care of it somehow.
Correct.
But not necessarily take care of the technology that would be needed for that.
It's like you need a special class technology for nurses, right?
Exactly, right. and we need an IT person on call.
On call,
and
yes.
that, you know, being able to call the help desk and, you know, tell them, okay, this is going on and this is going on, and is it important, and is it something we need to take care of? Can I do something about it? And if that doesn't work, they can sometimes, you know, connect remotely, and then they can, you know, look through our computer and see what's going on, and hopefully fix it. But if not, we do have the IT guys, and he knows me.
First name basis?
Well, not necessarily, but he's been out frequently enough that he knows where to find me.
So there is a help desk that helps you here in the district.
Well, the whole district has the help desk.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not
great.
just the department, but yeah,
The whole
it's-
district.
Yeah, the district.
So you use the same one at the teacher's desk?
Yep. mhm,
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to interview you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And
I hope all your process goes well.
Yes, it
and,
will.
yeah,
Thank you so
succeeds
much.
well. All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Uh-huh.